Hi, I'm Milenia, your host of the podcast Radiant Living. I want to welcome you to a space where you will find conversations of testimonials of growth, inspirational stories that have helped me, and other stories that will sprinkle laughter, spice, and tears. This is a space where you will find tools that can help you navigate your wellness journey. I hope you enjoy it. Hi, welcome to Radiant Living with Elenia. I'm so thrilled to be here with Diana for the first episode ever of my first podcast.
Yay.
I feel like you're the you're also part of this project because
Thank
you
you.
have helped me so much and to boost my confidence and to really launch everything that's going on. So
I'm so excited.
Diana is from Live in Geneva. As you all know her, you've been with the blog for more than 10 years,
10
11
years.
years. So welcome to Radiant Live It with Ilenia.
So excited. I think I've seen this project like from zero, and I'm very excited to be here. It's an honor.
Oh, it's an honor you are here. We are big fans of what you do
Thank you.
in this show, in this podcast. I'm a big fan of Diana. And let's get and dive into it,
Super.
into the conversation. This is an approach that more personal. We would really want to get to know you
Yes.
on another side because you're always working, you're always on the run.
Yes.
But sometimes it's good to know some other parts of you
Yes.
that are not that visible sometimes.
Exactly. And sometimes now you're going to be a creator. Sometimes we think people know all our story because we already share it. But there's always new people coming into your account, into your community. So it's always nice to do a recap and to explain your whole journey.
Totally. And especially talking about that, how did you come with the idea of creating a blog when you came here to Geneva? We're both from Mexico. Yay! What was on your mind when you decided to create Live in Geneva?
So it started 10 years ago, 2014. Well, almost 11 years, and I was in between jobs. I already had. I knew I was gonna start a job in September, and I had like 1 month without anything. And I've always wanted to write. I always wanted to share. It was the time of blogs. Social media was already present, but it was not like a business wise. It was more like people just sharing photos and a lot of filters. I don't know if you remember that time.
Yes.
So I literally was looking out like how to create your blog and create the blog. I wanted to share with my family how my life was here. I've always liked photography, writing, creating, and at the same time, Instagram was picking up. So I was like, I'm going to create my Instagram account and sharing the blog posts, like part of the blogs, like check my blog posts.
Okay.
I don't even know if at the time there was a LinkedIn profile. Like I've seen really like the whole evolution of Instagram. So it's very fun. And then I was like, people need to know that Geneva is not a boring city. There's a lot to do, but it's always hidden. So that's how it started.
Wow.
An idea.
But it has evolved into so many things now that you're doing these events for entrepreneurship and like getting women together to work together and to be a platform of brands.
Yes.
How's the evolution being like throughout these years?
So, it started, of course, as most things, a hobby, then a side hustle. I was working in corporate while I was running the blog. And then there was a turning point where I wanted to start a family. And it was very difficult to run the blog because I was starting to get invitations. It was a little bit the booming of influencers. So I was starting to get invited to events. At the same time, my corporate job that was like, it's always like very, very demanding. And I wanted to start a family, and it was not being easy. I was doing treatments and fertility treatments, etc. So it was like, you know what, I need to choose between the three. So I was like, there's, I think, hope and opportunity in living Geneva. I see the, how do you say, like the potential it has. Yes. So I chose that and my family, and I let go the corporate job. And so I was like, okay, so if this is going to be my job, what am I going to do? So I enlisted for a master's in digital marketing.
Wow.
So I was like, I need to learn more about marketing.
So you were going, like, so many things happening at the time.
Yeah, so I was like, no, but it was a lot, but at the same time, I didn't have the job 9 to 5. I didn't have kids.
Yes.
I mean, we forget how it's life without kids.
Yes, true.
So I had a lot of time because the blog, it was busy, but it was not that busy. You know, I was not creating events. I was not like, it was just like, I had time. So I was like, let's do the masters and focus on the fertility treatments, etc. And then it really happened very fast. It was like graduation, baby, business, rebranding, you know, and then it starts to scale up and build a brand, which is important.
But you had to juggle all of that, like this new era
Mm-hmm.
in your life, right?
Yeah.
It was a turning point from corporate life.
No kids, corporate life.
No kids, corporate life to being a master. Like, wow.
Yeah.
Was it hard on you, like with because going through a fertility situation and motherhood, was it hard on you? Like, did you struggle?
Yes, I think it was very hard. I mean, I'm a very perseverant person, and I don't give up. But now that I see it backwards, it did take a toll on me. Definitely. Especially when the pandemic hit, it was like, you know, when you can plan everything and everything goes well, you just like continue. But then if you just have something so massive and so unexpected, like a pandemic, it just like, that threw me off. Like, it was like, what is this, you know? But
as we're talking, you were saying that it took a toll on you, and that must have been hard. Yeah. How did you deal with it? Did you have support? Did you go to what helped you?
So yeah, so it was a lot. That period in my life was a lot. 2020, I think nobody will forget 2020. So I was graduating from my master's. I had just had a baby. We were moving houses. The pandemic hit. I was finishing the rebranding of Living. I was starting the rebranding of Living Geneva. So how did I do? I think, yeah, I deal with it. Like, we learn now, but I think that I dealt with it with myself. Like, I gave part of myself into that process, and it was hard to ask for help because we were confined. So you cannot ask for friends to come and look for the baby. You're just like on your own, you know?
You're on your own.
We're on your own.
Do you remember that doctors here didn't want to take an appointment from you unless you were dying?
Yeah.
It was so hard. I was
so
like,
hard. Like, impossible to ask for help.
I cannot break my leg. I cannot do anything. If I get hurt, it's like,
you're on your own.
Yeah, you're on your own. That must have been like really tough.
Yeah, I remember the panic of going to the pediatrician.
Yes.
With a 2-month-old baby. You're a first-time mom, and you are like, I remember I didn't even want to take the stroller because I was like, it's going to get infected. So I was like carrying the baby, just like with gloves and like the mask. And, you know, it was such
hard times.
Yeah, hard times. So I dealt with it, but I think that was the beginning of my depression because it was just so much. And I was just like powering through. And I delivered everything, but then it takes a toll. It takes a toll.
But to look back in that time, You sound so like, oh, it's past over depression, but it takes a lot
Yeah.
to build yourself again.
Yeah,
Like
so
in
much.
terms of confidence, and also like, what am I doing with my life? Because when you're depressed, when depression hits, it's like you don't want to do anything. It's
Nothing.
like you want to stay there.
Stay. Yeah.
Could you share some of those moments where
Yeah.
you felt very low?
Yeah, so I think the lowest point was when my baby, my first daughter, was 11 months. Yeah, 11 months. And it's what you say, like, yeah, when depression hits, you don't want to do anything. But there's also a type of depression that is, I don't remember the name. It's overproductive depression or something like that. That
You're
is
still functional.
functional depression, but then you start just degrading, and then when it hits, for me it was so trigger warning, suicidal thoughts. I was like, this is it, like, this is hurting so much. My baby doesn't need me, nobody needs me, I'm just like not doing anything good to anyone by being alive. And that was very, like, when you realize that is, and actually for me it was like, who wants to not live? Like, I'm such like in for life, and to actually have those thoughts,
No,
it's
Thank you
now,
for
like,
sharing.
I've been through therapy and I can talk about it, but it's real. Like, people, like, I think it's the number one cause of death for young people today. So it's real.
You're
And we
so
have to
brave.
talk about it.
You're so brave to talk about it and share it. Thank you so much for sharing us, because people, maybe they're in this situation and they don't know what to do. They feel like they're alone.
Yeah.
And they're not alone.
They're
A
not
lot
alone,
they
and
can relate to this.
and it's not normal. Like, I just want to say that it's not normal to have these thoughts. Like, not normal to even think about it. It is a red flag for getting professional help. And I'm an advocate for working out, for good health, for like good eating. You're going to talk about it, wellness. But when you're at this point of having these thoughts, it's imminent that you go and seek professional help, psychiatric help. It's not talked enough. And some people, when you may share like, oh, I'm depressed, and you're like, oh, you should wake up at 5 a.m. and like, it's great if
Yes.
you're already in a good mental health. But when you're already in like the red zone, psychiatric help. Like,
Yes.
this is what will make you feel better, and then you can evolve. Like, it's a whole process, and you don't want to get back to the red zone, and that's why you have to do all these wellness things.
But people
But
overlook the fact that, oh yeah, I feel it's not only sadness, it's a whole like situation.
Yeah.
And yes, getting help, professionally is the key. It's the only way.
is the only way.
Is the only way. On top, with your support, with your
With
network,
support system,
with your
with
friends, your
Exactly. Friends,
family.
wellness, good habits. These are super important, and they don't have to be overlooked. And this will build the base for then not going back there,
to carry on. Yes.
to carry on. But when someone or you are in that red zone, you really need like professional.
And it's a constant work.
Yes.
It's like it's not like, oh, suddenly I'm not depressed anymore. I'm just, wow.
Yeah.
It's like it's an everyday commitment to
It's
yourself.
an everyday commitment. Yeah.
And in that sense, what do you do? I mean, what is your strategy or your main thing? What's your thing to do? Like, hey, today I woke up.
So I'm very, very now, because also it's important to share that once you've been in a depression period, your brain gets used to it. So I've talked a lot about with my psychiatrist, and she's really good, and she's really funny.
It's
She's really
good to find one like that
It's very
you feel
important.
comfortable with.
Yeah, super
Because
important.
it's so personal.
It's so personal, and
to-
we're ashamed, and we think it's our
Yes,
fault,
yes.
and so the brain gets back to that because it's like a lot of people, for example, are gonna get like sick when they're stressed or when they're like hitting a rock bottom. Why? Because that's gonna make you lay down and rest. So the body's like, okay, if I do this, she will finally rest. And so depression is also like, once you build that little road to depression, your brain is like, yay, like it's happy to go back there because you will rest, you will, you know. So once that path is carved down, you need to be even more aware of those symptoms and those triggers that so you make sure you don't go back because the path has been built. So you need to be even more careful.
You need to be more conscious and aware of that. And yes, do you practice meditation? Do you practice some kind of self-care, introspection?
Yeah, so yeah, I like to meditate, but it's not so much my thing.
What is your motor? What keeps you like
Sleep.
yes, sleep? Good. Hey, listen up. For mothers, this is the most important thing.
The most important thing.
Sleeping. Yeah, because
Sleeping.
sleep deprivation is like
Sleep deprivation
the
is
worst.
so like, and I was talking to my therapist about this, and she told me like when sleep is not there, like it starts with physical and it evolves to mental.
Okay.
And it was like when sleep, because I was every session, I do therapy once a week. And I was every week I was telling her, I'm so tired. I'm so tired. Of course, I have a 1-year-old baby. Of course, I'm tired. And she was like, okay, this is a like red flag. Okay, what are we gonna do to get you to sleep your 8 to 10 hours per day? Because this is not working. And I was like, okay. So when you're starting to feel tired, okay, one day, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and she was like, you know, like it's been a month that you tell me that you're tired, so maybe you should change it. So I was like, okay, yeah, this is starting to be too much. So for me, sleep is the base of absolutely everything.
So you say like if I don't sleep at least 8.5 hours or 9 hours, I'm not well.
I'm not functional.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, of course, every day I don't sleep 9 hours. I wish.
What time you go to
but
bed?
What time do I go to bed? I try to go at maximum 11,
Maximum 11.
but I'm a
Okay.
night owl.
So you're a night owl, but sometimes an early bird.
I'm a night owl, definitely. Early bird is when I force myself. I'm
Okay.
never gonna be the type of person
Morning
that
person,
is
hi.
like 6 a.m. I woke up without an alarm. Never, not
No.
even with a baby. Never. I'm definitely a night owl, but I have to really structure myself.
Okay.
And I have twice a week. I have like my night sessions where I work Monday and Wednesday, because you know Wednesday the kids have no school, so I cannot work at all on Wednesdays. Like I just like but not like structured. So Wednesdays evenings I work from 8 to 10 ish, 11 midnight.
Okay.
Sometimes midnight.
Sometimes we try. So if you describe your perfect day, what would it be like? I'm guessing a
So-
lot of sleep.
No.
You tell me.
So I was going through this question, and I was like, for me, the perfect day is when I have an event. Like I love event days because most of my events are in the evening. So that's where I love to work. So I'm very happy that it's in the evening. So I wake up late.
Okay.
So I make sure I don't have anything in the morning, that I have help, I have a nanny. So I can wake up around 9, 9:30. The oldest daughter already left for school. My husband is the one that takes her to school. So I make sure I have time. I shower. I do my hair.
You take your time.
I take my time.
Your
If I
vanity time.
my
like
vanity
pampering
time,
you, yes.
exactly. If I can like squeeze in a little workout at home, I do it. Then I have like a little session, you know, like working a little bit of emails, social media. Maybe I need to post something, and then we start setting up around 4.
Okay.
3, 4, and we do all the setup. And I love working with most of my workshops. I do it with Ana Maria. I know that she's
Yes.
gonna come
Oh,
for
yes.
another like episode.
I've been to all of your events and I know what you mean. They're so cool. And yes, Ana Maria is coming up too.
Yeah, so I love those moments where we're just chatting and working. You know, like we're doing the goodie bags, we're setting up the food, and we talk, and we share so much. So I love those moments of connection with her, and then of course the energy and the vibes of the events, just like
Let me say this: the energy around the events is what the women bring.
Yeah.
Is they come so hungry
Yeah.
of surprises and learning experiences. It's like a platform. You put us all together.
Yeah.
Well, in previous events that
Yeah.
I've been to, it's like you put us all together and then everything flows. It's like, yes, I'm going to get this. And the networking and the connections that
Yeah.
we create is just
It
unbelievable.
flourish.
Yes, it's so nourishing.
Yeah.
Congratulations on that.
Thank you.
Oh, it's so fantastic.
Yeah.
Honestly, that
Thank
you
you.
keep continuing on doing those.
Yeah.
What motivates you to create these events?
The people. The
People.
people. Definitely the women that come and then seeing the results of the events. This is one of the results of the events, I mean, of
yes.
course, it's your idea,
You should
it's
be
your
proud.
vision.
This is like your
I mean, it's your idea, it's your vision. Of course, you are the creator, but I feel like it's the spark of something.
Yes.
Like these events start things, and where you're having an event soon with other women that you met during the
Yes,
workshop.
yes.
So this is the type of things that motivate me to like, okay, let's do another one. Let's do another one.
I think I'm gonna rename you, and your nickname would be the fairy godmother of new projects and ambitions and projects. Because
Thank you.
yes, it's like, okay, you put all the ingredients together, and then you take your magic
Yeah.
wand. Okay, go. You're ready to go.
Yes.
You should be proud of that. And
Thank you.
let's aim for that vision and continuity of doing that.
Thank you.
That would be amazing.
And I found a great partner too.
Yes, you have a great partner. She's
Yeah.
fantastic too.
Yeah.
Both of you together are powerful.
Yeah.
And that's unstoppable. That makes you unstoppable. So
We
continue-
complement each other perfectly. I love it. Yeah.
Yes, Ana Maria is great.
Yeah.
And I wanted to ask you, in that sense too, how to build confidence to keep going. Because we've talked about the good experiences.
Yeah.
But what about when the event doesn't fill out, when or it has to be canceled?
Yeah.
Like, do you feel, oh, what should I've done wrong? Do you have learning experiences from that when
Yeah.
things don't go your way as expected?
100%. I have like a list of failed businesses on my CV, and it's very funny because I think like I've 90% of women that arrive to another country were like, I'm gonna bring stuff from Mexico and sell it in Switzerland, I think we all had that idea in our lives.
Yeah, totally.
And so I tried that. Didn't work. I mean, I still have stuff in my house from that moment. I created the website. I created like everything. Didn't fail. I tried to create like an agency for influencers as well. Failed. I have some but they're all learnings. And what motivates me and what gives me like that drive, I have no idea. I think it's just like the creator mode.
Yes.
And yes, of course, there's times where I'm like, oh my God, I just want to go back to like a 9-to-5 job. And I'm like,
Really? You
no
wanna go
way,
back?
no way. I will never go back. Like just my mind just thrives a little bit like, oh, that would be so good. Just like go to work, get a paycheck. But then I'm like, no, I love what I do. I absolutely love what I do. You find your ikigai. I don't know if your audience is familiar with that, but it's like you find your purpose and you can get paid for that. So that's more or less what ikigai is. And through trial and error, I found what I really love. And that's when you have a true purpose and a true why, you just keep going because you love it so much.
And you cannot allow yourself to stop you. It's like, okay, maybe I made a mistake, but you're learning, and you keep seeing things that, okay, maybe I'll try this. It's a way to reinvent yourself, as I see it.
Yeah.
Right?
And with Ana Maria, after each event, we really do like a little, like just after the event, like when the last person leaves, we sit down and we write the learnings.
Yes.
Like, okay, we should have put someone earlier in the door, or next time we need to do this. And so we're always learning from each event. And you were asking like the things that don't work. For example, we were doing an entrepreneurs event. We were like so excited. It was like a full day event on a Saturday. We priced it quite high because like the whole day, and we were so excited. We put it out, crickets, and we're like, what? Like, why are people not registering? Like, what's going on? So I asked a few people that had shown interest in the event, like, why are you not registering? They were like, I'm a mom. Saturdays are to be with the family. It's very complicated to block a whole day, blah, blah. And so we're like, okay, we got it. Okay, you don't want that. Let's go back. There were like 1 or 2 people registered. We told them like, you're going to get reimbursed, no problem. And we packaged the workshop to be in the evening. Of course, it's a different price. It's shorter, but then we're going to build it up as it goes. So we learned from that experience.
So it turned out to be
to be great. And when we posted the one that you came, it sold out in a few days. So it was, I think that you need to meet your customer where they are.
Yes.
And not what you want to offer.
Yes.
Because, yeah.
And what is the best business advice someone has given to you?
So I think I always share this one, but it's think big and start small.
Okay.
Not because you're starting small, it means that you're not making progress. And as an entrepreneur, solopreneur, we have limited resources, we have limited time, limited money, limited employees,
yes.
limited everything. But that doesn't limit your vision. That limits what you can do today. But you always need to move towards your vision, but it can be baby steps. It can be attending a workshop. It can be joining a club. It can be, I don't know, maybe your dream is to become, a painter. So just maybe book a course online, and that's small baby steps.
That's a great advice, because when I was going to sign up for your event for the entrepreneurship, my project, my podcast was very small, even in my head. Yeah. I was just like lying in my bed and thinking, it's like, I want to do a podcast.
Yeah.
And then I decided to send you a message, but I told you like, I don't know if this fits with the idea. And you said like, yes, please come. And from that moment, I said to myself, even if I start small, even if I'm scared, even if I'm nervous, baby steps are better than nothing. Nothing. Laying on my bed will bring me to nowhere. So it's better to start.
Exactly. It's better to start. And that's why we created that workshop, because it has a vision. I mean, of course you can start, but you can start like all over the place. But if you're starting towards somewhere,
yes,
even if it's baby steps, you're getting closer.
Totally.
If you're just like, of course, there's an exploration part when you have no idea what you want to do in your life. Like, okay, I want to quit corporate, but I don't know what. So that's an exploration part. So you can really but once you know what you want, just go towards it. And baby steps, and talk about it as much as you can.
As much as you can.
Yeah.
Did you learn a hard lesson in your life, not only in your career, professional, but in a personal way? Like, did you lose someone? Did you go through something? like a hard lesson to in your life
So
that hurt, that burned, like oh
so well, recently I told you
yes.
we didn't know if we were going to talk about it, but I want to talk about it. So 2 weeks ago, I fell on my head coming back from skiing, and it was so unexpected. You know, like I think there's times where you know you're going to learn a lesson.
No, no.
But this time I was just like coming back from skiing, very happy. My daughter was like running in front of me, and then dark.
Oh no.
And then it was just like people calling me from, I don't know, the universe, like, Diana, Diana. And I was like on the floor, unconscious.
Oh my God, you fell
Fell on my head.
on your back. Like,
On my back,
Oh no.
hit the head. Thank God I had my helmet still
Oh,
from
no,
skiing.
no, no.
And then it was very fast. It was ambulance, helicopter, hospital, MRI, you know, like, will I ever walk again? Will I ever hold my daughters again? Like, I was in the helicopter, just like, what's going on? You know, like, you're completely like you cannot move your head, you cannot move your neck. And I was like, will I ever walk? I couldn't feel my legs for like 30 minutes. That's long. When you
That's
cannot
super long. I'm so scared. That is shocking.
That is shocking. And it was just like 20 minutes
Wow.
from the moment I fell to the moment I arrived to the hospital. And so many things went through my head, you know? And then you need to like kind of like talk about it so you can like make sure it happened, because then 24 thank God nothing happened. I can walk, I can
Yes,
think.
you're here.
I'm here. But then like you need to really talk about it to make sure that it's you to process it, because it was very
Yes.
shocking. And
Unexpected fall, like from out of nowhere. Then
yeah, like
it
if you know you're gonna
traumatizes,
like jump
yes.
from a parachute, you know that there's a risk.
Yes, of course.
I was not expecting a risk on like just walking back. So
Now we laugh about it, but it
now
must
we laugh
have
about
been
it, but it was
super scary.
super scary. And I was just like, I remember being in the helicopter and thinking, I just want to be in the living room with my daughters, like, please, please, please.
No. And the daughters were like being taken care of.
Yeah, so they were with the nanny. So it was
Your husband was
my
with
husband
you.
was like, he had to drive to the hospital because we were in the
Yes.
mountains. And he was so scared
I'm
because
sure
he just
he
saw me
was.
leave like in an ambulance. He had
I'm
no idea.
scared, and I wasn't even there. But
Yeah, no, it
from
was-
what you're saying, it must have been
Yeah.
traumatizing.
It was very
at a point.
traumatizing, especially and also you realize like life is super short. Life can go in like a blink of an eye, and you have to hold your dear ones. And so it didn't change my life, but it gave me a different perspective of life can change in a the blink of an eye. So make sure you do what you love
Yes, and live well.
and live well.
And yeah, that was one of the questions. Like, motherhood has changed your perspective in life.
Yeah.
It's not only you have to be responsible for yourself, but for somebody else who's waiting for you. Like in that sense, you felt scared. You felt
Scared.
afraid.
You know, and I mean, honestly, like because when you have a concussion, you're very like confused.
Yes.
So many thoughts come and go, and at a moment I was in the helicopter. I was like, "Is this death? Like, am I in heaven?" You know,
no.
like I was, because I don't know why there's like a window on top of helicopters, so you can see if it's spinning or not.
Okay.
I didn't know that.
Okay.
And
And it was very clear.
I
like-
could see the sky
Yes.
because you cannot move. And I was like, am I dead? Is this
God?
God? Like, am I going with a helicopter to the sky? Like, and it was, why was I saying this? I forgot. What was the train of thought? I don't
because-
remember.
Yeah, because it changes your perspective.
Yeah, it changes completely your perspective. And in motherhood, I was not scared of when I was thinking I was dead. I was not scared of dying. I was scared of leaving them. And that's the perspective of motherhood.
Yes.
You're not on your own anymore.
No.
Ever again. Like you're
Never. Your time doesn't belong to you anymore.
No.
you're always
your
have,
thoughts
even if you're like they're being taken care of,
Yeah.
you always have your kids on your mind.
on your mind, like a
Either-
humming,
Yes.
like a
Yes.
in the
It's
back
like,
behind the
have
mind.
they eaten? Are they okay? Did they sleep well? It's
Are
like
they
that.
sick? And I remember there was a question that it was like, "What is your worst day?"
Yeah,
as well.
what is the-
and
what
it's,
was your
and it was
worst
like
day?
when someone's sick, you know,
Ah.
like it just throws you out of your agenda, and you have to reschedule everything. And health is wealth.
When they call you from the creche,
And you're like,
because the baby had diarrhea. I remember like it's happened to me.
Yeah.
Like, come and pick your child because
And you're like-
yes.
Yes,
Oh no.
health is wealth.
Health is well, definitely. And sometimes we don't pay enough attention
Yeah.
to that. No.
So
But-
yeah. So I
but
think that's
I'm glad
the
you're
perspective.
well.
Yeah.
I'm glad you're
Thank
well
you.
and you're healthy, and that was just is behind
An episode,
an
an episode
of
in
your
life where
you never know
yeah.
what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
But thank God you had the resources to get to the hospital soon. And
Yeah,
to get
that
all
we live
the
in
tests.
Switzerland, and you
That-
know,
yes, that you were in Switzerland.
Yeah,
That's
that
great.
it was very fast. That it was, they
Yeah.
check you very
Everything.
quickly. They
So
give
all
you
is good.
all is good.
Okay, no need to worry.
No need to-
because you look radiant.
Thank
you.
you.
I'm glad it's perfect. And if I ask you, if you had a time machine, would you ever go back to a moment of your life or not? Or in the future maybe?
Like, would I go back in a moment? I think the time we talked about the depression, and I think that I missed moments with my daughter, where I was probably physically present, but I was not mentally present. And thank God we have phones and we take pictures and videos, because sometimes I see photos and I don't even remember them. And I'm like, wow, because I was completely somewhere else, I was healing my brain probably. And yeah, I would like to go back to my daughter being born and
Your first
probably the first year. Yeah, the first one.
Okay.
To relieve that pandemic, that 2020 was such a blur
Such a
that I
blur.
would love to go back in time and just maybe not change anything, but just live it with a different, being more present.
But it's totally okay.
Yeah.
It's totally okay to go back, and then it happened for a reason.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it
and
happened
now
for a reason.
you're here
Yeah.
telling your story.
Yeah.
So you're a testimonial and a witness of success.
Thank you.
Yes, definitely. And here the funny questions.
Okay.
If you if your wardrobe could be one color only for the
Okay.
rest of your life, what would it be? One color is like, okay, Diana, this is the only color available for you. What would it be?
Wow.
Do you have any preference?
I love green.
Green?
I'm not wearing green today. Usually I wear green. I
Okay.
think it would be green. Like different shades of green. But green.
Green.
Dark green.
Dark green.
Dark green.
Yeah, I see you perfectly.
Yeah,
and
dark
you
green.
have greenish eyes. so
Yeah,
it
and it's
goes
my
well.
favorite color. I have like a wall in my house that is green. Like I love green. Yeah, definitely dark green.
Definitely. Okay, cool. Diana, if you could do one thing for the rest of your life, what would it be? One thing only.
Being a mom. I really love being a mom.
That's
Yeah,
sweet.
I think that's reward. I think you learn so much, and yeah, I love being a mom. You're just like, yeah. I love being pregnant. I love being non-pregnant with a baby. I love breastfeeding, like everything. Mom. Yeah.
Aw.
Yeah.
Motherhood is the most valuable thing for me,
Yeah.
and also you get to learn from yourself too.
Yeah.
From yourself.
You birth a
from
mother
others.
when you birth a baby.
Yes.
I mean, it's crazy. So, yeah. And we didn't talk about it, but I think in the workforce, it should be more valued.
Yes.
And I have a friend that told me, like, in companies, they should, this is completely off the subject, but she told me, like, in companies, they should have, like, a quota of, like, mothers that are coming back to work after 10 years because they took care of the kids, you know?
Yes.
And it was like so true. We learned so much. We
learned
like
so
are
much.
taking care of a human being, you know, like what's more valuable than that? Like we are dealing with so much and stress and, you know.
And that is one topic also, just quickly, when you go back to the workplace and you were absent for 5 years, like what have you been doing? Like you have a gap in your CV, like
What
you were
gap?
not working. It's like I mean, you were good, but then you were a mother, and it's like they take out the value of that.
Yeah,
It's
and
like,
it's so much
come
value,
on.
so much work.
It's time managing. It's
Stress management. Dealing
like
with terrorists, you know,
finance. Yes, financial, administration,
budgets.
budgets.
It
gives you more experience
You're a
than-
teacher, you're a driver, you're a cook,
cook.
you're a, like, I mean, it's so much
It's so
in
much.
one.
Yes,
24
you're a
hours.
psychologist.
You're a
You're a
psychologist.
supporter, like you're a
Sleep,
nurse.
sleep consultant.
Sleep consultant, nurse, because now you
Nurse.
know like how much dafalgan you have to give
Yeah,
to
of course,
a
I mean-
5-year-old or 3-year-old. So
I mean, it's crazy. So
Yes.
it should be valued more
Yes.
on the workforce.
definitely,
Yeah.
definitely.
Because life is long. I mean, it's good that women want to take a break from the workforce. It's not a
Yes.
break. It's not a break. It's
No.
not a break. But it's valuable. We need to value that in the workforce. I think that tomorrow my company is going to grow and I want to hire moms.
Yes.
I want to hire moms.
Cool. Cool. I'm in for that. That's super relevant. That's fantastic. And that you value the power of women
Yeah.
is just on another level.
Yes. Thank you.
And finally, since we're both Mexican,
Okay.
this is so important.
Okay.
I take my things very seriously.
Okay, great.
So, tacos or tostadas?
Tacos.
Tacos or chilaquiles?
Hijo.
Oh,
Chilaquiles.
chilaquiles verdes or rojos?
Verdes, always.
Verdes always. With chicken? No chicken?
Always chicken.
Okay. And now that you've been living in Geneva for quite some time, would you rather have a pain au chocolat or croissant?
Pain au chocolat, always.
Pain au chocolat ou brioche?
Pain au chocolat.
Okay, pain au chocolat and chilaquiles are the winners.
Yes.
Thank you so much,
Thank
Diana.
you.
Thank you so much
It
for
was
your
amazing.
time. Diana from Live in Geneva is the first guest of Radiant Living, the podcast with Ilenia. I'm so thrilled to be part of I feel part of your team
Tribe?
in a way, your tribe, honestly. Yes, as I told you, you're the fairy godmother of
Thank you. The spark.
of the spark, and I urge you to continue on doing that.
Thank you.
Good luck with everything. Keep the success coming, and I hope this is not the first time.
I hope it's the first of many.
Yes, the first of many.
Super.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. This is Radiant Living with Ilenia. See you next time.
Bye.